Good morning, everyone here, and those of you on Zoom, and those of you that are listening to the recording, being with us by recording this morning. Happy New Year. It's a blessing to be alive, isn't it? And to be well and to be together. What a blessing. My name is Shirley Angel Love, and I welcome you here, bringing all of yourself here. There's nothing more to do but just be here, be present. Be present wherever you are, beloveds. What a blessing. And so we have a few opportunities for this coming week and maybe a week to come. And that is, the first one is the Early Birds. Meets every Sunday at 9:30 by Zoom. We're starting a new book called Practical Metaphysics by Butterworth. So I encourage you to enjoy it with us and expand your conscious awareness and get some new thoughts. This is a new year, new beginnings, new thoughts, and everything up to this point has been completed. So we're starting with new thoughts, new ways. We have some upcoming speakers, and today is Dr. Edward. And then on January 8th is Peggy Shin. January 15th is Reverend Kamatara from Albuquerque. January 22nd is Randy Granger. And January 29th is How to Be Happy Every Day. It's a video, so I'm sure we'll be wanting to see that one too. It will change the world. And then our lunch bunch is going to meet again January 11th. That's on a Wednesday at Cracker Barrel. And then also on the 11th in the evening is the Board of Trustees meeting at 6:30 on Zoom. All of you are welcome. They like to have your input. And so you can see Edward if you need the link to that. And then on Thursday evenings, the Thursday evening group is going to start up again on January 12th at 7 p.m. We meet in the fellowship hall, or you also may join on Zoom. We have a lot of opportunities here. The ladies' luncheon that meets with the different New Thought churches is going to start again on January the 26th. That's a Thursday at CSL. And then lastly, but not leastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve you and to support you. And so you may submit your requests by the web page that you can get from Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually every Tuesday at 4:15 to pray with you. This is a good time for you to be present wherever you are and join in with them. You may, we know that spirit is one and the energy of prayer knows no limits. And so now if you'll just kind of settle in, we'll have our invocation. We are so thankful for the presence of the living Spirit the living Creator, everywhere present, and we acknowledge this presence today and every day. This presence is flowing in us, around us, and through us, and we're so grateful. And it's everywhere present, out beyond these four walls and in to all creation. And we're so thankful. We acknowledge this presence now, and we feel it deep within our hearts and all around us. We're thankful. We're so grateful. So grateful for this new year, new beginnings, completions of the old, and walking into the new. And what do we say? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. All righty. So then I think it's time for us to sing the song of joy. I choose joy. And some of us are not so good. I'm talking about myself and getting the tune. So you musicians really do your thing this morning, okay?
We'll shout it out. One, two, three. When the walls come tumbling down, I choose joy. I choose joy. When the world stops spinning round, I choose joy. I choose joy. When my heart is hard to move, when my music's lost the groove, when I have too much to prove, I choose joy. I choose joy. When hate is all I see, I choose joy. I choose joy. When fear won't let me be, I choose joy. I choose joy. When betrayals and lies hides the light from my eyes, I look up to the skies and I choose joy. I choose joy. Okay now. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. Joy, joy. Joy, I choose joy. In this moment right here, I choose joy. I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy. I choose joy. To be who I must be, for the light to shine in me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. In this moment right here, I choose joy. I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy. I choose joy. To be who I must be, for the light to shine in me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. And everybody will be free when I choose joy. I choose joy.
Wonderful, wonderful. You may be seated. Well, that's a different song, and I really like that one. Yeah. Okay. So now it's time for us to do our vision, our mission, and our affirmation. Okay. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in the world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: as we welcome the new year, we acknowledge it as a time for new beginnings and a fresh outlook. Spirit brings forth new understanding and ancient wisdom and a greater expression of itself through us. We accept this new perspective and the increased service to our fellow beings and to the universe. So it is. All right, and now we're going to have special music by Ayo. I think that's right.
I just wanted to introduce this song real quickly. Ayo will be singing Auld Lang Syne, which is based on a poem written by Robert Burns in 1794. So it's very old, and he wrote it in a language we can't comprehend today. Also a melody that we don't know anymore. But I was thinking about this song, and I thought, this really feels special to me on a deeply spiritual level, because it's about people in our past that maybe we don't think about often, but people that have been very instrumental in our development to where we are today, because every person has fed into that. But I thought also the old acquaintances might be more than just people, but it might be truths that we've learned throughout our life. So as we remember these things, this is a day to remember, and remember to lift a cup of kindness, which is the gratitude for everything we have. Ayo.
Acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should old acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne mighty, for Auld Lang Syne will take a cup of kindness yet, for Auld Lang Syne, and he's a hand, my trusty friend, and gives a hand o' thine, will take a cup of kindness yet, for Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne mighty, for Auld Lang Syne will take a cup of kindness yet, for the sake of Auld Lang Syne. And surely you will buy your cup, and surely I'll buy mine, will take a cup of kindness yet, for the sake of Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne mighty, for Auld Lang Syne will take a cup of sake of old lang syne.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ayo. Wonderful, thank you. Our reading this morning is going to be taken from This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. Today is God's day. God's day is my day. Today, bright with hope and filled with promise, is mine. I'm reading this in first person, so I'm being your one voice. You're saying this to yourself as well. Today, my heart is without fear. I have implicit confidence in the good and the enduring and the true. Today, I shall guard my thought and speech. I shall keep my consciousness steadfast with the realization that there is a spiritual power upon which I may rely. I shall turn resolutely to that divine source which knows no confusion. The Spirit knows no opposition. Consciously, I draw close to my divine center, the source of all that is. I feel the warmth of its presence. I enter into a faith made perfect through love and confidence, an assurance made complete by the abandonment of myself to good, acknowledging good in all my ways, desiring only the good for others. I rest in calm assurance. I open my consciousness to the realization that all the power and the presence there is clothes me in its eternal embrace, that the Spirit forever imparts this life to me. I believe in myself because I believe in God. I believe in my destiny because I know that the law of good is operating through me. I have confidence in the future and enthusiastic expectation of good things to come. Therefore, I accept the fullness of life this moment. And Spirit adds its blessing to this word. And so now we're privileged, we're honored to have Dr. Edward coming with words, new words, planting new thoughts into our mind this year.
Thank you, Shirley, for the reading. Perfect for where I'm going to go with today's talk. And I stand here in a great deal of gratitude for each and every one of you who choose to participate in Wellspring and bring your lovely, magnificent beings to Wellspring. It goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Wellspring would not be anything without each and every one of us. It is a community that is supported, lifted, and actually developed by each and every one of us. So as you said, I'm supposed to bring some new words. The title of today's talk was freshen our outlook for the new year. And today is New Year's Day, so Happy New Year's to every one of you. And many around the world spent last night celebrating the end of last year and ringing in the new year, as we say. And after waking up this morning, I think perhaps maybe a little late because maybe a little hungover, they said, oh yeah, it is the New Year's. Maybe I better give a few minutes to creating my New Year's resolutions. So they perhaps gave it a little bit of thought and said, you know, my resolutions for this upcoming year are the same ones I had for last year. It's like, well, without doing anything different, they're probably going to be the same for next year as well. So how's that working out for you in achieving your resolutions? You know, you forgot them by February 1st, only to be reminded at the end of, or the beginning of next year. So today, rather than talk about how to lose those extra pounds or to quit this or that, I want to speak about something that's even more fundamental. And maybe if we operate from the fundamental, that these other things become a lot more easier. Now I say, if we talk about our fundamentals of new thought, but also the fundamentals of most religions, especially the Christian religions, and that is Genesis, book 1, chapter 1. And why do I go there? Well, it is the beginning of creation, isn't it? Genesis. We say in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But maybe I should say that's not exactly the beginning, because in the beginning was God. In order for God to create, God must have existed. But where I want to head with that, or take that, is I think it's very important. What were the raw materials that God used to create from? You've probably heard this before. Well, God used God's stuff to create from. There was nothing else there. So everything from the light, and I'm not going to go through all the 7 days, but everything from the light to the humans was made of God's stuff. So we're made of God's stuff. Or someone said we are godlings. We're made in the image and likeness, and we have all the same characteristics of God. So that's the first point of the intro that I want to make. And the second is that after 6 days of creation, God saw that everything that had been made, and he said, and indeed it is very good. Everything is of God and everything is good. And that is the basis of our belief, or should be, as that cute expression is, God didn't make no junk. Every one of you. Now, trying to describe something that's omnipotent, omnipresent, and etc., I say all the rest of the omnis, it's a bit like the story of the blind man and the elephant. One elephant, many blind men. One walks up to the elephant, touches the side and says, it's a wall. Somebody else touches the leg and said, oh, it's a tree. And somebody grabs the tail and says, oh, it's a rope. And another one grabs the ear and said, oh, it's like paper. And someone gets the trunk and he has another thought. And so they're comparing notes and they say, oh, it's a wall, it's a snake, it's a spear, it's a cow, it's a carpet, it's a rope. This is kind of like us trying to describe something that is multidimensional using our three-dimensional vocabulary, the concepts that are available to us in the three-dimensional realm. So let's take this and perhaps the greatest of all of these qualities of God, because that's what we really do, is we describe the qualities of God rather than actually what God is. And that one, perhaps the greatest, is love. It's difficult for us to truly feel the love of God. In our three-dimensional world, perhaps the closest is that of a parent for their children. And if we don't have children, the love of our pets, the love the pets have for us, is a close approximation. And if you were a school teacher, then perhaps the love of your students might work here. We want the best for our children, for our students, for our pets, etc. So let's just take a moment now. So I want to go within and perhaps hold in your mind's eye a child or a pet, anything that will help you tap into the feeling of love. Maybe we just close our eyes. Touch as deep as you are able. That is just a small representation of the love, the care, and the support that Source holds for us. As the God character in the shed said, "You are one of my most favorite people." You are one of God's most favorite people. Person. We talk about ourselves being spiritual beings having an earthly experience. Well, let's use an analogy such as an iceberg. We all talk about how the iceberg is 10% is above the ocean, the water, and the rest of it is below. Well, if you think about us, our body is 10% of who we are. The other 90% is our God stuff. The rest of our God stuff, I should say, because our bodies are our God stuff as well. It's our soul, right? Our spiritual being, what have you. And if we want to take that iceberg metaphor just a little further, we can say our spiritual being is just 10% of the total support system that we have. In our corner and rooting for us are all of our spiritual family, our earthly teachers, and those on the other side of the veil. We have our spiritual support team, our guides, the angels, the ascended masters. All are always available to help us when we ask. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the concept of a computer operating system. You know, it seems like in the Windows environment, at least, or the PC environment, we're always getting these updates, right? It says, update ready, must reboot, you know, that kind of thing. So let's take this analogy then to our personal life and our personal operating system, which is our belief system, right? And I know that Peggy has used the acronym in the past for our belief system. You all remember what that is? Our BS, belief system, right? All right. So let's just consider that in order to achieve our New Year's goals, maybe we need to update our personal operating system. Maybe we need to make some changes in our belief system. We don't feel like we've been making progress using the belief system that we currently have. Perhaps a new belief system would be in order. So I want to speak of 3 beliefs that we may consider updating our perspective on. And I'm not saying these apply to all of us, but perhaps there's a kernel of truth in each of them that resonates with all of us. So the first belief system, which I want to talk about, is the one that's associated with the word karma. Right? We all know what karma is. As a matter of fact, we learned karma back in the 70s. You know, I think one of the most popular expressions that we used for karma was karma is a right? That was a good one. Then we always had, well, you better treat folks kindly or karma will come back to bite you. And we've got that. And you know, when that person speeds by us on the freeway, you go, they get later, we see him pulled over by the policeman. He says, karma's right? Karma got him. And then there are a few more perhaps enlightened definitions of karma. One of those is the belief that we are separate from God. Another one is unfinished business. Karma is unfinished business. But still, we kind of say that karma is something to be feared. Maybe it's a form of punishment. You know, if you don't deal with this now, when it's little, karma will bring it around to you and get you with that cosmic 2x4, so you'll really learn it. And again, it's almost a concept of punishment involved there. So I want to think of karma completely differently. How about karma as being finished, or finishing or wrapping up business? Karma is finished business. I think of this lifetime as sort of the finishing lifetime. And I've gone through a number of different things that I realize as I look back that it was just finishing up, putting a bow around an old relationship or an old concept or something like that. Another definition for karma I'd like us to use is that karma is compassion. And lastly, karma is love. I want to build the case for the concept that karma is love. And I'm going to, divine love. So I want to use the analogy of a windshield. Now, if the windshield's dirty on your car, it's harder to see through it. And we're inclined to wash it because we want to see clearly through it. I remember as a child when we would go to a gas station and, they still cleaned your windshield and all that. My mother would be sitting over there and she'd point on her side of the windshield. There's a spot there. Oh, there's a spot over there, to get the guy to make sure he cleaned all those spots. Well, do we leave a couple of spots like, well, don't clean that one. I got that bug spot in the summer of 2020 and it reminds me of the trip we took to the Grand Canyon. So don't wash that one off. Or that one over there. Now, I know I have to move my head around to see when I'm trying to turn right, but I'm used to it by now, so just leave that one there also. So I'm going to say no matter how fond we are of certain spots in our windshield, they still block the vision or the light coming through. And that goes the same for our hang-ups, our misbeliefs, or bugs in our program. Just imagine that this loving God, Spirit, wants us to feel, see, experience its full love without our spots blocking its radiance all the time. This divine is saying, come closer, my beloved, come closer. I think that's more like love than punishment. Remove those, not because you're bad or you're wrong. Remove those so that we can enjoy being closer to each other. So number 2, I want to talk about our victim stories. That might need to be updated a little bit. If you think about the country and western songs, the somebody done somebody wrong song, that one? Or that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I remember a song like that. Telling our story once in a therapeutic session is good information to be processed and worked through or worked with. But telling it more than a couple of times becomes an affirmation. We paste affirmations on our mirror and we try to remember to say them in the morning, once a day. And then when we introduce ourselves to a new person, we introduce ourselves with our victim story. And we continually do that. Is it any wonder that our lives remain the same? So Jesus is reported to have said something along the lines of the following about the power of the word. And I've modified it slightly, just to make a point. Jesus says, "I tell you, you can have anything you affirm. However, all you do is affirm what you already have." That's telling our victim story over and over and over again. As our words are affirmations, so we affirm. It's a lot easier to identify it when someone else is doing it than when we do it, of course. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, so I'm going to put maybe in front of it. Maybe make a deal with a good friend that you both will remind the other when you or they say something which is not affirming. Or not. It might be a quick way to lose a friend, I don't know. No matter what, set the intention to catch yourself when you use less than positive affirming statements about yourself. And the third one I want to speak about, I'll call it a tweak. We all know God is good all the time and everywhere. We claim that we believe it, but do we really? You know, there's a book some of you are familiar with. It's titled When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Right? Now, I can't say I've read the book and remember exactly what the author was trying to say there, but I think the takeaway from that is, well, how could God let that happen? Right? Oh, isn't that horrible? If you watch the news, you'll be convinced that God's goodness is rarely seen in the real world. Now, several of us have been reading this book by Schwartz, Your Soul's Plan, Discovering the Real Meaning of the Life You Planned Before You Were Born. And there are case studies ranging from physical illness to drug addiction to death and accidents. In each case, the pre-birth planning of the individuals involved are investigated to uncover the why and what each was intending to learn from their different challenges. There was a case where a package bomb blew up, and not only did they investigate the background of the person who was blown up, but they were able to contact, through the use of mediums, the bomber's pre-birth planning and what the bomber was trying to discover, what he was trying to accomplish by the bombing. So I'm going to say, rather than judging how ungodlike events appear, let's start with the assumption or the feeling or the belief that all is in divine order, and let's cultivate a sense of curiosity about how this may actually be in the best interest of all involved. I think we've all had that experience that in retrospect we can now say, you know, that was the best thing that happened to me, while at the time we thought it was the worst thing that could have happened to us. We just need to say about what's occurring today, whatever the situation is today is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Today is the best thing that has ever happened to me. So in summary, you are unimaginably loved and supported by the divine. Karma is divine love showing us where we are blocking the light that is wanting to come through. Our victim stories are just that, a recitation of the challenges we have chosen to overcome. No matter the external appearances, Spirit is operating in, through, and around every situation, bringing forth the very best for all involved. And above all, the divine is constantly extending to each of us. Come closer. Come closer, my beloved. You are my beloved. And so it is. So let's just take a minute and take this to prayer. As we know and we believe and we feel, God is all there is. There's nothing but the divine. There's nothing but God stuff. We, each and every one of us, are a piece and a part of that God stuff, that divine, that spiritual essence that is operating through us, for our highest good, around us, within us, without us. So as we know, there are friends and family who may be going through challenges that appear insurmountable to them at the time. We understand that that's just a false image of what is happening. What is happening is a clearing of the windshield, a clearing of the filter between them and the divine, who is constantly there with open arms, asking, come closer. So we hold this understanding that what is happening to each and every one of us, to our friends and our family and our community and in the world, we know that that is God operating through that situation. Somehow, some way, it may be beyond us at the moment to understand. Somehow, some way, that is bringing more of God's love to the world and to the universe. So we just hold this concept, this thought, this knowingness for each and every one of us, each and every one on our prayer lists, each and every one in our community, everyone we meet, the homeless person on the street, those who are engaging in war throughout the world. We know that somehow, some way, God is operating through that. There is something more godlike that will be seen as a result of that. So we speak this word, we speak this knowledge and this understanding into the law. So we know that the law says, yes, it is done. So we know there's nothing more for us to do. We have turned this situation, no matter what it is, we've turned it over to that divine, to that source, that knowingness. And so we can release it. And we do. We release it into that, knowing that it is done. It is evolving into perfection. For that, we are grateful. And so it is. Now we have some more music.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul, 'cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Iola. Wonderful. Get ready, my soul. What a wonderful message. And so we would like to acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts. We give thanks for the offerings already given and those that will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the flow. We affirm that we are also part of this flow. We bless these gifts and know they are multiplied throughout our community. And so it is. There are a number of folks that have made this possible today. And I just thank you. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Jim and Edwin. And our speaker, Dr. Edward. Maybe we could thank him again. I don't think we did. Wonderful. This is the thankingest bunch of folks, the lovingest bunch of folks. See? Oh, and Sharon said John raked out there. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today, both by recording and by Zoom. And okay, there's my picture again over there in the corner. I don't know when they took that, but okay. Okay. So we thank all of you that are joining by Zoom and by recording and here in the sanctuary. And you may continue to visit after the meeting on Zoom, or if you're here, you can come over into the fellowship hall and be with us. And so I think it's time now to stand and to do our benediction and our peace song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.